The Diode SuperGP Champions Trophy is proudly brought to you by Digital Entertainment On Demand and their associate sponsors.
Inside left-hand side is poleman William Friend, and staggered across to the right on the outside, it looks like Lance Marais. Marais, for me, has probably the best start position, being at a big outside sweeper, and he is a good starter as well.
Yes,
so he's got a real good position there.
Well, the fight is between Lance Marais and Tyrese Roberts. There's only 2 points between them. They've got about 30 points to sort out between Coccione and them. Coccione, unfortunately, didn't get to grips with conditions here this morning. He's down in 6th place, but he's 4th in the championship. So, in terms of the battle, there's 30 points to play. There's 50 points up for grabs, and it's going to be between Lance Marais, Tyrese Roberts, and Luca Coccione. William Friend, I think, is going to be dominant. Dominic Doyle will try and push as hard as he can, but, oh man, we're in for an epic battle here for sure.
On the inside tip-in point of turn number 1, still a little bit of moisture, so these guys will be very, very wary, and do not touch these curbs. They are lethal, pretty high curbs as well, so the Superbike guys, should they touch them, they're going to be picked up and spat off. Nice dry around the corkscrew there, so good to see the bottom end of the corkscrew. You can see there's a nice dry line there.
Little patch at the bottom, which is a concern.
At the bottom, but you're pretty much picked up by that stage.
So out of the portable shade corkscrew, they head into the hairpin.
Hard corner this, so hard, but a good passing opportunity.
I think we went round in the hire car yesterday, and I've been round in my production car. But I can tell you, on a motorcycle, I think that turn would be a little bit easier than in a car.
Yeah.
It's not going to make so much of an understeer issue on a motorcycle that you do in a front-wheel drive machine.
Guys are going to be working the gearboxes very hard, and we know the man that works the gearboxes the hardest is Wild William Friend. So we've got to hope that he's not going to kick that shifter off again.
Out of the NGL Logistics Complex, it goes around the dam section. There you can see the dam just in the background of that shot. It's a big, big dam in the middle of this racetrack. And it's certainly one of the key features here. It kind of becomes almost the swimming pool-esque of Monaco, which is really great to see. Then they head up the hill and into the Pirelli Southern Loop. And you can see just how difficult this is. It's a slight bump heading into this. You can see different lines being taken there. It's probably not the race lines that have been taken just yet, but it is a never-ending right-hander. It's almost a triple apex right-hander. Flick it over onto the left-hand side. On the inside, where you see Coccione right there, the red and white helmet, there is a massive bump as well. So something that they need to be concerned about.
And just so hard to get on the power there. I actually saw Adolf Bossoff, one of our Super 600 riders, the man that's taken pole position, and he was lighting the back end up. So if you get on the pipe a little bit too hard coming out of the final turn, it can get crazy. Green flag up. We're going to go into a very quick start line situation.
So we got lights on. As soon as the lights go off, we go racing. Heads are down. And drop the clutches. Let's go. Down towards turn 1. A great start from Doyle. Looks like he might have outgunned the 34. No, he hasn't. As you can see, Wild William Friend went across and blocked both Tyrese Robert and Lance Marais as they go into turn 1. Doyle is second. Tyrese Robert from the second row moves up to third, but he's side by side, heading up the hill towards that very tricky turn 2. Lance Marais on his inside of a blind corner.
Yeah, Marais just climbing up and over. This shot does no justice whatsoever, but that is absolutely blind coming through there. So Lance Marais is on the big charge coming through and getting up the hill. All right, big change up then. The second place dice is going to be on. Dom Doyle retakes his second place. Marais is trying to close up, but look at the lead that is stretched out already. Wild William Friend is running.
He's trying to get away from these guys. Dominic Doyle looking for second place in this championship, but is still in with a bit of a fight. Remember, there are 20 points between himself, in fact, to 23 points between himself and Luca Coccione. Coccione not in the picture right now. He's unfortunately down in 6th place. So Luca Coccione could be the man who loses out the most here in these two races today. Right now, the man who's looking to gain the most is Lance Marais on Dominic Doyle. Dominic Doyle pretty much sorted for second place, although a mathematical chance if Lance Marais can get past on him, and there's some issues on Doyle's bike.
First time through the NGL Logistics Dam, heading up into Pirelli Southern Loop. They're in the Southern Loop. This is where you've got to really climb on the brakes, and this is where Marais is so good, getting on the power onto the start-finish straights. Lap 1 in the can.
Yeah, Wild William Friend is the man who leads out as they cross the line and has gone on a standing start to a 136.2 It's an impressive run. Dominic Doyle in second, trying to keep Marais and Tyrese Robert at bay. There's only about 1.2 seconds between second, third, and fourth place on track as it stands. And as they head up the hill towards that very tricky blind corner into the portable shade corkscrew.
You can actually see them go light, unload, have to get back on it. For me, this is the scariest corner on the track. The big corkscrew heading down the hill. This morning, this must have been absolutely terrifying, especially for these guys, because remember, the Super Juniors went down and out in the worst conditions.
So now as they head out of that portable shade hairpin, they flick it over onto the left-hand side. Unfortunately, we lose the shot as they go over the little bump, but there is a big bump there heading down the hill to where they are right now. You've got to go slightly wide of that bump and then into the Dio double right-hander.
Marais had a problem there, and Tyrese Robert had a problem the previous corner. So a little bit of pressure has been taken off the back wheel of Doyle. He may be able to just lock himself in there. He's got around about half a second gap, and the rest of the guys will be chasing it out.
Heading down into the double right-hander now. Out of that one, they go into NGL Logistics and up towards the Southern Loop. Look at how Tyrese Roberts is cooking in that section. Oh, runs a little bit wide there. Don't run onto the grass. Yep. Not in this kind of situation.
If you touch the grass or mud, it will be wild, and you'll be on your elbows before you can even think about getting up. You can see if you drag a little bit of knee, there are some standing puddles around there, and Tyrese Robert has done a good fight back on that lap to get himself back into contention. The hard-braking corners, funny enough, and we know that Tyrese Robert is super strong on the brakes. The hard-braking corners on this circuit in these conditions, he's suddenly struggling today.
William Friend is not struggling at all. 31.256 and getting now down into some decent times. I'm going to tell you, look out for him coming through. He looks like he might be the man to take this double victory here today, but the battle is certainly for second, not only in the championship but on the road as well. And Tyrese Robert with a slightly wider line looking for options. That is great riding coming out of the youngster. Tyrese Robert certainly looking for an opportunity here, there and everywhere to get past on Lance.
This is where he had a problem last time around. Outbraked himself. He tags a nice inside line, doesn't get dropped too badly, but you can see that Dom Doyle and Tyrese Roberts, Lance Marais are able to get out and fire the bikes out of the corners a little bit stronger. Let's talk about Torrin Wainwright, though, a new man, and that's been the story of the season in the KTM RC390s, the Super Juniors, and we see new names arriving every single time. Wainwright was good in the rain, and unfortunately got a good drop off the second row on the 58 machine, but has been dropped massively come race time. He's sitting 5 seconds a lap slower than this bunch.
It's all good at this stage as they go for an epic little battle here. And heading out of NGL Logistics, it's pretty much the battle of the double numbers, 22 and 99. The 26 bike of Dom Doyle, not in the all-orange like we usually see him.
Yeah, it's a change up there.
But certainly it's working well for him as they head up into the Southern Loop and out of it onto the big left-hand flick to complete another lap. So we've got 12 laps to do here today. We are going to complete the third of 12. And a nice run there from William Friend. Looks like he's the man who could be in contention, as I said, for a double victory here for the first time at Dezzi.
Dom Doyle looks nice and comfortable at the moment as he runs out there. He is the leader in this chase group, and Marais is just being able to sight him, spot him, and eye him up the whole way through. Not necessarily slowing each other down. They're all locked into the 133 bracket. No one is actually half a second slower, so these guys are the race to watch out for. But William Friend is able to lap almost a second and a half faster than these guys. A little wag of the tail there. Tyrese Robert under the hard braking into the second of the real slow corners.
Heads up down the hill.
Of a move. Here we go. This is going to be around the outside. I'm waiting for this to happen. This, for me, is where all the passing will count. The big sweep around the outside to set up to the inside on this turn.
Into Dio double right, and Lance Marais was certainly just trying an option there. Didn't quite make it stick. I think Dominic Doyle saw him coming and shut the door. But you can see just how hard Lance Marais is working to make that maneuver stick. The other opportunity, of course, is heading down towards turn one. If you get the drive out of that final turn, cross the line, use the slipstream, you could possibly bomb up the inside and steal it into turn one.
Coming up through this section here, this makes me twitch every time I see the guys going through there. Massive movement on the front end and the back end for Dom Doyle as he heads into the Southern Loop, the Pirelli Southern Loop, and then this turn. Doyle is very strong onto the start-finish straight, so he's able to maintain. Oh, look at Marais, though. Marais is good enough. It's quite a short run, though, down to the flag.
There you go, Slipstream City, out of the slipstream, onto the brakes.
If that was the flag lap, he wouldn't have had it.
He's got to try and make it stick into the last lap if he can, or the penultimate lap, I should say. Because if you get it on the penultimate lap, I think the drag race to the line will be won out by the leader onto that main straight.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a drag or a slipstream situation. The rider in second place will remain in second place. Robert is starting to feel the vibe, and I think it's time for him to start stepping up and do some work at the front of this queue if he wants to be able to run and get some kind of numbers.
As they head down into that very tricky hairpin. This is where we saw Lance Murray just come alongside and have a chance of maybe getting past. He wasn't as close as what he was on the previous lap.
Lovely shot, that. Nice sweeper, really shows the undulations of the circuit. And probably the one place where the guys can start really unleashing some big power. Big sweeping left-hander. And this morning in qualifying, that would have been so hard.
Now down into a second left.
Oh, there was a chance there. Murray had a big look up the inside.
I think Lance is looking for opportunities at every single part of this track. You might want to catch Dominic Doyle sleeping and possibly just bomb up the inside somewhere where he's not expecting him.
Yeah, through the NGL Logistics Dam, there's a chance of an inside line there if you are for the Brave, because remember, on the inside and outside of your elbow, there's going to be concrete strips.
Now into the southern loop. Not really a passing opportunity here, but as I said, you've got to get good drive out of the last turn and then just try and squeeze the other rider out into turn one.
Onto the start-finish straight then. Remember, after this, we're going to be going forward into our first of the bigger bike categories. The Super 600s are going to be out there for a full 18 laps. The kids are going to get busy.
Dominic Doyle into turn one, able to keep Murray out for now. Tyrese Roberts just sitting comfortably in that fourth place, but could pounce at any time. He's not letting him get away, and in fact, in certain sections, he's actually quicker than both the riders in front of him.
See a big fall off for Wainwright and Coccione. It'd be interesting to see if they have been able to group themselves together behind these guys, because we have been focusing on second, third and fourth place for a long time. So I just want to see if Wainwright and Coccione are working together to try and build pace, or whether that is stretched out.
Okay, that's much better there for Murray. He closed right alongside. Now going to go try around the outside. Let's see if he can keep it all together. There's a lot of grip on the outside. He turns back into the inside, though. I'm not quite sure why he's not trying to hold that outside line.
Yeah, I think there's a railer line there.
Put the pressure onto Doyle heading into the DO double right.
Yeah, definitely a railer line there. If you could set up from an outside to inside, if you get that inside line, there's going to be no way the rider that you've made the pull on will be able to come back. Again, coming out of the section, incredibly enough, Lance Murray is the second heaviest rider on the season, and he's still able to get incredible traction out of the turns.
Now up onto the big right-hander that takes them up over the runway and into the southern loop, and a big turnaround. Look at that. Oh, here we go. Lance Murray had a look that time. Doyle was worried, and as Doyle put his head around to see where he was, Murray was right there. Perfectly done. That's intimidation.
I think Murray is definitely the faster of this three-way split, and he's going to have to make his way through there. He was slightly caught watching the rear bumper there, and he's just got to get himself into a position. I believe that if Murray can get through, he will be able to stretch off the front of this group.
Oh, extremely late braking coming out of Lance Murray into turn one. Great stuff as they head into the Discover Digital section of the circuit, heading up over the top and into a corner that completely disappears from you. You can't really see it from that point of view. It's a big pity we don't get the onboards, but of course all the onboard stuff will be happening in our post-production show, so you'll get an idea of exactly how that section drops away into the corkscrew.
At the bottom of the corkscrew as well, that dry line is opening up and getting much wider, so that's going to set things up cool. Again, another wag of the tail, a huge...
Oh, massive moment!
So Doyle, that's what we're talking about. Getting on the gas out of these stop-start corners, and that was all the way down to first gear. Dom Doyle spat himself out the seat, survived, but that is all that Lance Murray needed. I think Doyle may be able to come back, though.
Yeah, I think it's time to queue up Freddie Mercury under pressure there, but that's exactly what was going down. The pressure was felt, he buckled under the pressure, and now has to do it all again to get back into second place. William Friend has disappeared at the front end. He's not going to be caught. He's 11.5 seconds ahead of this battle, but it's a really awesome little dice here between these three. And now that Tyrese Roberts has seen the pressure being applied and the rider in front of him faltering, he's going to do the same thing.
Yeah, Murray, long look over his shoulder as he heads down the hill once again. The undulations really not getting shown on the camera, but the southern loop sets them up. This is where you are just waiting to get on the brakes. Never-ending right-hander, hard on the brakes, and up the inside. Doyle almost tags the line up the inside and finds some grip on the concrete, not just the tarmac. That was a real comeback. So after losing it, getting spat out of the seat, losing time, and here comes Robert up the inside.
Tyrese Robert having a go on Doyle. Oh!
That's the first time we've seen that line and first time we've seen a real good bite of the apple into turn number 1. Robert wants through as well.
Well, let's have a look at that replay quickly. This is how it would happen, coming out of the portable shade. Hairpin, there you can see, pulls out of that, tries to get onto the accelerator too much, lights up the back end, steps out of the saddle, and up the inside goes Lance Morais. So the pressure was applied. Unfortunately, he buckled under the pressure, as I said, and now the same thing's being done as they head up. Oh, look at that. Morais put his head down, getting away. Doyle is under pressure again, this time from Robert.
It's clear that on the stop-start corners, if you get on the pipe a little bit too hard, you're still going to get spat out. Incredibly enough, Doyle wasn't at full crank there as well. He just got on the gas a little bit early. It shouldn't have broken out, which just tells me there is still a little bit of moisture in the sweet spot.
Oh, maybe just found a bit of patch of water that's stuck on the track there. There are still some patches on the circuit. The one that's concerning me the most right now is not here. When we get to it, I'll tell you all about it, but it's heading into that final turn. As you cross over to take the last turn, there's a little river still running across, and that could be a bit of a concern for some of the riders.
Yeah, that's right at the end of the Pirelli Southern Loop, and that's where the riders have to watch out. We're heading into the Southern Loop right now, the never-ending right-hander. These guys are running super tight lines. I'm amazed to see that, to be honest, and that's what's making life hard. There's the river you're talking about, and a wide line from Tyrese Robert, but it sets him up for a little bit of a better run. He's actually the one rider that is finding time on the start-finish straight. That's the 22 in shot, third rider.
Big pity he wasn't close enough just yet, and it looks like a dogfight in the pit lane as well as we head up onto the top and into Discover Digital one more time. It disappears from me, this corner. But you can see Tyrese Robert is not worried about it at all. He's using almost production car lines through there and running wide to cut back into the very late apex, heading into the corkscrew now.
On that corner, you've just got to give yourself as much time as you possibly can. If you try and hug insides, you're going to be off the cable for so long, and anyone will be able to sweep around your outside.
Much smoother from Dominic Doyle now. You can see he's calmed down. I think that little wake-up call has put him back into a bit of a rhythm that's going to be a little bit more conducive to a possible podium position here. But let's see what happens, because he's now starting to close in on Lance Morais. So the battle for second's not just yet done. We are into lap number 9 of 12. It's about 2.5 to go as they head through NGL Logistics.
Yeah, keeping it nice and clean. I just can't believe the gap that William Friend was able to pull after just one lap. At the end of lap number 1, he was 2 clean seconds ahead of the rest of the pack. That's almost unheard of. So it just shows he came to terms with this little track and he got it dialed in. Definitely didn't show what he was capable of in the morning session.
Well, we're definitely almost dry as well, which is great to see, other than this little river and maybe a patch.
Oi!
Look at Doyle. Where was that maneuver? Didn't even hit the brakes for that final turn.
Didn't hit the brakes, and I think he's going for a setup there. Unfortunately, there is only one outcome for a move like that, and luckily enough, Morais was fast enough on his mid-corner and exit to stay away from it. But Dom Doyle wants through. I think he knows exactly what is at stake today. He has to maintain and confirm that second place.
He wants to maintain second place in the championship too, so second place on the road is what he has to do. Remember, Lance Morais is only down in 6th place, and that'll put him a little bit more difficult position to be in to finish up in the top 3. Although if he keeps going the way he's going, he's probably going to beat out Coccione and Tyrese Robert. Tyrese Robert behind him right now is going to lose probably 5 points to Lance Morais, and that might be enough for Morais. There's a move on the inside once again. Have a look at that. Dominic Doyle didn't hit the brakes.
Morais saw him
early enough. Tried to make it stick though, and almost made it stick.
Yeah, Morais did see him early enough. A small pickup and just allowed the guy who ran out of brakes and almost ran out of talent to just go busting through. Big gaps now blowing open between the 3 riders running in the 2-spot battle.
Yeah, we've got 9 completed, so 2.5 to go for these guys. Impressive stuff from William Friend, getting into the 1:39.62 on that last lap. It's the fastest lap of the race so far, and he has got a almost 15-second lead over second place. Lance Morais right now, the 9.9 bike in shot, with Dominic Doyle closing in on him, and this is not done just yet.
Race leader just crossed the stripe, and we are still in the Pirelli Southern Loop. No do-or-die moves this time around, but you can see what Dom Doyle is trying to do. He's actually trying to pick his bike up dead straight to get his braking done. Then what he's doing is releasing the brakes before he gets that little river. I think he just caught himself out the previous lap. Oh,
there you can see it heading into the corkscrew. That is the leader. And on the last pass, 14.5 seconds, William Friend, the Naked Bike and Transport.co.za, Rad KTM, doing a great job of sealing this championship up nicely. And we wrapped it up at Red Star. So now I just want to have the final blood of 15. I think that's what he's trying to do here. 30.814, fastest lap on the last lap. So he's just getting quicker and quicker, which means conditions are getting better and better, and that bodes well for 600s and Super GP later on.
He's had a lot of confidence. He's had 2 DNFs on the season as well, and has never fallen off point. He stayed focused and stayed in the championship hunt the whole way through. We talk about him as being one of the bigger kids out there. It's helped him out. It definitely has helped him out. We actually thought the smaller riders like Coccione may be able to come on through, but the more muscular riding style of William Friend has seen him being able to literally just muscle the bike around and stay on point. He is running good. The confidence boost that he's taken these last couple of rounds as the bike has held well together and then wrapping up the championship has sent him forward, and he is going to be smiling the whole way through as he heads across to try and get a place on the Red Bull Rookies Cup Tour for next season.
Yeah, he went there last year, didn't quite make it, but this year is certainly looking a lot more confident. But speaking of confidence, look at that. Dominic Doyle into the Southern Loop, up there on the outside of the Southern Loop, makes this maneuver stick, and with 1 lap to go, has moved back to second.
Can't believe this kid is definitely just been the arrival. Very quiet, very timid the whole way through the season. These last couple of races, he has known that he has the beating of a lot of riders, and his style on the bike has changed. Someone has been helping him. Someone's got into his head and shown him that he's got the confidence to get out there and run with these big dogs.
Look at this awesome little battle now.
Oh, wide line. He's going to get squeezed out.
Come on, get up the inside there, Lance. Oh, he has a big look. Here comes Tyrese around his outside. So Tyrese Robert trying to capitalize on the fight for second place and maybe just steal it from both of them.
You know what? Marais was nice there. He definitely could have stayed on that. And oh, here we go up the inside. This is what I thought was going to be happening, and definitely something we'll watch for the rest of the day. Round the outside, set up to the inside, the stall, almost MX block pass. And there are some MX riders that will be lining up. We'll talk about them later on today. Those are the kind of passes that those guys crave, look for, and will be lining up throughout the day.
Yeah, very good possibility here. We're on to the final lap, as we've said, and it's Dominic Doyle that hangs on to second place right now. Can he keep these other 2 riders out? There's a move from Tyrese. Oh, what a move from Tyrese Roberts, sneaking through on Marais. That's a championship battle and the 3rd place on the podium up for grabs.
Makes it stick as well, because Tyrese Robert has got those beautiful sweeping outside lines taped, and look how it sets him up. Takes him right up to the bumper of Dom Doyle. So Tyrese Robert, the double 2s, has saved the best for last.
He certainly has, as the chicken flag comes out for William Friend. Done and dusted by almost 15 seconds, but second place still up for grabs as they come into the final turn. Tyrese Robert looking for a chance. Dominic Doyle goes very defensive, shuts the door, but Tyrese is going to hang on. Perfect timing from Robert to take 3rd place and the final step of the podium. Lance Marais kicking himself for that mistake.
Tyrese Robert had a little bit of a moment there as well, right at the end of the Pirelli Southern Loop. Almost lost the front end before the river, and these guys have been working super hard. Robert knows he's been in a fight there, and he pushes it all the way to the wire. So we concentrated on that battle for second place, but it was a dominating ride from William Friend to run out there. He takes the new standing lap record here at Dezzi Raceway on a 1:30.8 and will wear the number 1 on his bike going forward into next season. So Wild William Friend, unflustered at all, and we go down to the podium. Greg Maloney's down there to get all the reaction from the kids.
Let's find out how your day went. It didn't seem like there was any issues on your motorcycle at all, buddy.
No, I just started pushing from the start, and I saw the gap was getting bigger and bigger. Then from about 5 laps to go, I backed off just so I could maintain a gap and win.
And that's what it's all about, getting the win done and sealing the championship now with 1, possibly 2.
Hopefully, yeah. I'd just like to thank my parents, Transport.za, and Rad for making this opportunity possible.
William Friend is one of those riders, as the champion that he is, that has become strong, and he gets strong at the beginning of the race. After that, he's able to roll off. So very similar riding style or strategy or tactic that we see coming out of Clinton Seller. Throws down 2, maybe 3 real good laps, and after that maintains. It's left up to the rest of the guys to pick up the pieces from that point on. And that's why we saw that incredible 3-way split the whole way through race number 1.
Remember, William Friend leaves these shores of Port Shepstone and heads across really close to the dates that finalize this championship, to the Red Bull Rookie Cup test in Almere in Spain. And we're looking forward to seeing whether he actually cracks the nod this time and actually gets a ride in that Red Bull Rookies Cup series.
Such a hard process, man. I mean, it's
100 30 riders going there.
Most of them are from Spain as well.
Correct. Fortunately, it's a circuit that they tested at last year where he went and actually did some riding and got an opportunity for the first invitation to do the Red Bull Rookies Cup. The guys from Red Bull Rookies Cup have basically told Matt and Louise, you don't normally get in your first attempt. It is always on the second attempt that you do, and particularly
like a driving test.
If you've got, yeah, exactly, pretty much like in South Africa. If you've gone as well as what William's done this year and wrapped up a title and also played around on machines that are very similar to what these guys are on, he's got a better chance this time of actually getting that one of the, I think it's 15 spots that are available.
It's a cool series, but if I was a big kid like that, it might be better to go out across and go with Besadenhout and Temba Kamalo and race the Pata Hondas. That runs as part of the support category on the World Superbike Tour, and it's a buy ride. You don't necessarily have to qualify for it, but I think the frame of William Friend tells me he should be on a slightly bigger bike.
I'm hoping he's going to be on a slightly bigger bike, but as I said, it is also still up to him to come back next year to convert the National Challenge into a National Championship and make it back-to-back. Not an easy thing to do, but if you take the example that Clint Seller's given, a relatively easy thing to do. 4 times in a row, incredibly, there for Seller, as he comes into 2016 with massive confidence after that.
We will, of course, go shopping at regional level because this year the KTM RC390s were rolled out as a regional and a national challenge. So for next season, a couple of the guys will be moving on up. And we know that KTM South Africa, Dave Griffin from Rad Motors and Motors Klerksdorp have a lot of riders in their back pocket. And they will be coming through and filling the ranks, climbing the ladders as the championship changes and moves on forward.
Moving on up.
Yeah, I don't want to break
east side.
Didn't want to break in a song too early on.
Yeah, exactly.
And of course, I think we can start talking about the fact that it's pretty much done and dusted, that the national and regional categories will be merging, which is meaning that we will have much bigger grids going forward into the 2016 season, and that will start with the KTM Super Juniors.
Yeah, I think Dezzi, PE, or East London, whichever one we go to, and Cape Town will be the only ones that will form part of the national championship. The rest will all be considered northern regions and nationals combined.
Yeah.
So 5 of those rounds will be combined rounds, which will be great to see. And of course, if we've got 5 of those rounds, there'll be potential 5 to 10 riders more on this grid that we see here today.
Again, easy way to start racing. We've got green flags at the back, so we'll start wrapping this thing up and building it up to begin our second set of heat races here at the final round of the Diode SuperGP Champions Trophy.
Visors down, heads down, and we go racing towards turn 1. Looks like a great start coming from our regional man, but Whole Shot City going to William Friend only just.
Just about had it. Marais definitely had the tip-in point, but the inside line was held by Friend. Marais is in a great position here, though, to run with the pace of Friend in the early running.
As they come out of that very, very tricky first and second corner, it's a third corner that's even more difficult. Portable shade, big sponsors, and coming through the corkscrew now.
What I love about this track, though, is you start with 2 left-handers, you go into turn number 3, which is a set of right-handers. So it's not a case of a lot of the tracks around the country where we're on one side of the tire for the entire track, and then as soon as you turn left, it all goes sideways.
Yeah, flicking around left and right from the word go, gives these guys a chance to get heat into these tires. These tires, particularly from Pirelli, don't really get any worse or any better throughout the race. It's a pretty consistent tire. And unless there is really, really treacherous conditions where the heat is unbearable, that's the only time that you might feel the effects of these tires going wrong.
Yeah.
Right now, no effects at all, other than the fact that Dominic Doyle didn't get the great start. Sitting in third place with Robert on his tail, and he's losing ground to Lance Marais. Lance Marais has to go and get second or first to try and beat Tyrese Robert for what is going to be 4th place in this championship.
Well, straight away, should I say, Marais is right there and staying with as they come out of the Southern Loop, the Pirelli Southern Loop, which is the end of the lap, already out of the corner and onto the straight. Wild William Friend pulls an advantage, which will just start timesing by 2, 3, 4, and 5 as the laps go on. Marais is trying, but it's going to be very hard to fight against this instant pace that Will is able to deliver on.
It's about a second there in terms of the difference between those 2 riders. Just under a second, in fact, as they cross the line. And now heading into this very tricky corkscrew section. Dominic Doyle trying to go defensive, keep out Tyrese. Tyrese all over the back of him, looking for a chance to possibly sneak through early, and it's what he needs to do.
Yeah, he's got to. Tyrese is one of those riders that, unfortunately, he does tend to come good late on in the race, but we've seen that he's got the skills to make it happen. Dominic Doyle third place, it's a good place, but look at the stretching that is happening. There is a clean second between first and second. There is 1.2 seconds between second and third already. The three-way split that we saw at the halfway marker of, lap number 2, should I say, of heat number 1 is gone. That's not going to happen unless Murray makes a big problem. This is going to be a 2-horse race for third place from now on.
Murray trying to push hard and trying to run those early laps to maintain the gap between himself and third and fourth place. But the way that we're seeing a change up in the riding style, you can see Doyle has decided to put the head down and go hunting for Lance Murray. Tyrese right with him and just going to follow him right up to that position. Little championship battle in terms of third and fourth place between Tyrese Robert and Lance Murray. Dominic Doyle has got second in the bag. He doesn't have to worry about it, but he would love to be on the podium at the final round.
Yeah, he's trying to get that job done. Remember, that's going to all change in a couple of laps. These guys are out there for a very long time. So far, the weather is holding station. Not necessarily building. It built the last hour. It seems to have kind of leveled itself off now, and the racing should stay overcast, but hopefully that's as worse as it gets.
As long as that rain stays away, I think most of these riders will be happy, including the 600 and SuperGP and M riders sitting in the background, waiting for their final heats of the day. Up and over the top.
On the first flying times as well, a Wild Will lap of 1:29.7. So once again, the first rider to drop under 1:30, and that was on his first flyer, lap 2.
So out of portable shade section they go, and into the DO double right-hander. You can see just how difficult it is for these riders. They're going to have to push it to the limit. But at this stage, it's all about William Friend, who has now got almost 2.5 seconds ahead of Lance Murray. Murray is being closed, though. He was able to do a 30.8 on his last lap. 31's coming out of Doyle and Robert, but that's improvements from both of them. Not a massive improvement out of Lance Murray, though, as he has to try and keep it all together to maintain second. Doyle looks back. He's worried.
He made a mistake. He definitely spun the back end up and is not feeling comfortable, and he's under pressure. Tyrese Robert is the pounce now. This is the time to get the job done, because you can see he's found his confidence at the end of lap number 2. He knows he's got the heat in the rubber and will now go for it. But unfortunately, he rolled off at that mistake point coming out of Doyle, so Tyrese Robert lost a chunk of time there.
I think he was just concerned about the fact that maybe Doyle would go down. So to try and take evasive action, just stayed out of the way. Probably a rookie mistake, not the ideal position to be in, especially if a mistake comes from the rider in front of you. But he's made up some ground and is back into the hunt there for third place on the road.
Already at 3.4, should I say 3.25 laps into this race. 3.3 seconds is the gap between William Friend and Lance Murray. So if my maths is not too far gone, that is almost a second a lap on average that Friend is able to pull out of the rest.
It's impressive bit of riding there from Wild Will. Second place, though, is still all about Lance Murray. His previous lap was a 31.4, not as quick as his 30.8 earlier on. 31.6s coming out of Doyle. 32.1 out of Tyrese. That was because of the mistake he made, but you can see he's now back on it. And I'm sure he'll probably come back down into the 30s for this next run. Yeah,
I'd like to see Robert make a pass in the next couple of laps to get through on Doyle and be able to close in on Murray, because Murray has very much leveled out. But you can see from the onboard shots that we are seeing from Tyrese Robert is coming through, and he's definitely getting held up by Doyle. My apologies there.
So Doyle now just holding the young man behind him. Two riders going at it, and of course two youngsters of the future here, and stars of the future, no doubt about it. This is the kind of racing we're seeing from the inaugural championship for Super Juniors. I look forward to what's going to happen in 2016 when we've got massive fields. And in fact, on occasions, we've had some big fields this season as well.
We have. We've been filling in the cracks as we go along. What we haven't seen is the consistency of people following the full tour. But we always find that when there's a rollout, and the second season is always where everyone completely buys in to the concept, the idea of the racing, and that's when we see everything arriving. Incredibly enough, we have seen sales just skyrocket, and most of the KTM RC390s that are getting sold are in race spec.
So it's got to go. The race spec bikes are available. Rad and KTM South Africa, big behind the series, and looking to grow it even more next season. And as we mentioned earlier on in commentary, good possibility of up to 15 motorcycles on the grid for round 1 of next year's championship, and that's what we're hoping for.
Yeah, there are tons of bikes out there. Remember, Bulevy has one of his own as well, so he could conceivably be racing 2 championships next year. Yanni Moll, arguably the perfect rider as far as stature goes and skill level for these KTM RC390s. He would be perfect, and on occasions at regional level has done incredible laps on these machines. He will be one of the riders to watch out for next year when it turns Junior/Masters Championship on the same track.
Okay, so if Lance stays where he is right now and Tyrese stays where he is right now, there will be 9 points between the two of them, but Lance will have the advantage over Tyrese for 4th place in this championship. So Tyrese has got to get past Dominic Doyle and find a way through to lessen the gap, and if he can, even get higher up if there's a possibility of it.
Yeah, his corner entry definitely gives the advantage to the 22, but a little bit of extra squirt out of the corners from the smaller, diminutive-framed Dom Doyle just keeps him out front for now. But you can see there are so many sectors on the track where Tyrese Robert is having to roll off earlier than he wants to. He's got to make an aggressive pass.
I've seen both of them have attempted an aggressive pass. There, whoa! Late brakes from Tyrese.
Both twitching, actually. The front ends were all over the place there.
So as they come through now, you can see heading down the hill towards the Dio double right-hander. Hard on the brakes. Oh, big twitch there from Dominic Doyle. So the pressure's on, and it's starting to be felt by both of these riders.
Yeah, I think the mistakes are coming, though, and we'll refer to the gap. It is a 5-second clean gap between William Friend and Marais, but a clean 3 seconds between Marais and Doyle. So it looks like that gap between 2nd and 3rd place is gone. But a lap and a half ago, it looked like they were going to be able to pull that back, but 3 seconds is huge. It is going to be a battle from here on out for the final podium place.
Double right-hander into a triple right-hander now. Slightly different lines, and in fact, the way that Tyrese is going in there, it's not the same aggressive lines that we saw earlier on from him. So I wonder if he's just settling to finish the season with no more damage, and they're going to just take that 5th place overall.
There's Marais. He crosses the line at 6.3 seconds back now. The 3-second gap, well, now it becomes 3.5-second gap off the back wheel of Marais to the front wheel of Dom Doyle. Tyrese Robert is dropping off the pace. He's got to make this pass. He is clearly the faster rider. Entry speed and mid-corner much faster. He just cannot find a way through. Down the corkscrew, incredible shots. This angle really showing us how steep that drop-off is.
Yeah, slightly different shot there. I love the way that they've changed up the angle ever so slightly. It worked perfectly to show you the undulation there, as well as the flick over point. But remember, you've also come out of a double right, or a right-hander that actually drops away from you on the left-hand side of your motorcycle before you go into that. Very, very technical circuit to play on a motorcycle.
Dom Doyle is just aggressive on his gear downs, likes to get the back end of the bike wagging and moving around, and probably upsetting the flow of Tyrese Robert. He's a much more straight inline rider, doesn't like to get things moving around too much, and able to keep it nice and planted. Completely different stature of riders equals completely different riding styles and lines on the circuit.
Let's see if he's able to use those lines to get past, because he's been trying left, right, and center. We did see a very late pass coming on Dom Doyle. In fact, on Lance Marais, I beg your pardon, to get through for the 3rd place of the podium after race number 1.
Again, it's
so
just that,
can he do the same thing to Dominic Doyle?
Just that entry of the Pirelli Southern Loop seems to be a much wider and faster spin coming into the entry of that sector. But under the braking and under the mid-corner, it looks like Dom Doyle is able to maintain and extend.
They can see Lance Marais up the road. Oh, Dominic Doyle.
4 seconds to try and find it.
That was a massive moment for him, and it could be capitalized on. No, not quite. Tyrese wasn't quite close enough.
Similar to race number 1 of the Super 600s, if the guys are braking a little bit too late and gearing down too aggressively into turn number 1, the bikes get almost out of hand.
Side by side, out of the corkscrew. Tucking in line astern as they come out of the exit point and up into the hairpin. Let's see just how bumpy that hairpin entry point is. There's a little bump on the inside of that turn, and then it's everything she's got down the hill towards that double right-hander.
Yeah, the guys are still hard on the brakes at that point, so I think what we're going to see going forward is improvements on these machines, particularly for this circuit. You want to stiffen up the front end as hard as you possibly can, and maybe soften the back end a little bit more, because these guys are looking for a little bit of extra bite.
Left-hander, that is NGL Logistics area they're in right now, past the dam, over the dam wall, through those 2 concrete slabs, and here we go, up towards the southern loop. Now this is where there's clearly an advantage coming into the hands of Tyrese, but as they go over the runway and into the loop, that's where he loses out, because he takes a slightly different entry point.
Yep.
It's worked for him this time. It was a lot more aggressive from him this time, but a lot more aggressive body language too coming out of Ty. So good possibility of a change-up here.
Yeah, there. And at the end of the southern loop as well, right at the end, and the last Pirelli sweep where he's flipping from the right-hand side to the left-hand side, that is where Tyrese is nervous. And I think he gets a little... Oh, William Friend.
That's William Friend.
William Friend has gone off track. He is still
at turn one.
At turn one, he's gone out into the mud. His tires will be filthy, and this... Whoa, this is going to change the race completely. That means we have got Lance Moret leading on the circuit. This two-horse race is now the dice for second place, and William Friend is going to be very nervous about how clean or / dirty his tires are for a couple of corners.
He doesn't have to worry about anything because he's got the championship sorted out. So just a mistake there from our champ. Not usually what we see from him, but maybe he was just trying to get in a hot lap time. And in fact, looking at the times he was getting down to, 29.7s. That is a relatively good lap around here on a close to 400cc motorcycle.
No change in the championship for the top spot, but of course that's going to give these guys a little bit of extra hope. They will have definitely been aware of the rider, and there is the move. Finally, starting to show the wheel up the inside, going into NGL Logistics. This is a good part of the track for Tyrese Robert, but he just starts to fade off at the end of it as you change direction. Something he's going to have to work on a little bit later at home and going forward into next season. He needs to commit. When you show that wheel, you've got to pounce and get the move done as early as possible, allowing the rider no comeback. Again, there's that change of line you spotted earlier.
Yeah, just taking a wider line this time to see if he can get the drive through the final turn. On his tail is William Friend. He'll be well aware of that as he crosses the line. There'll be some kind of indication to him to tell him how close things are. There's your leader. That's Lance Moret tipping into turn one. There's second place Dominic Doyle. And Tyrese Roberts right with him. William Friend. There's some work to do to try and make up for that mistake in this corner on the last lap.
Just based on lap times and form, it's clear that William Friend will close up on these lads pretty quickly as well. 3 laps remaining in this race. He's definitely got some time in hand. The good situation that Tyrese Robert may find his way in is as William Friend comes through and goes to get the move through on Dominic Doyle, the door may be opened and it may be 2 bikes wide. That'll help out Tyrese.
Sure.
Here's Friend. He's right on the wheel. One of the positions is definitely going to change on this lap, and we're coming into one of those great setup corners. The wide line from Friend, inside line on the brakes. Oh, he thought about it.
He had a look, but wasn't going to stick it in there just yet.
Yeah, just came from a little bit too far back and didn't want to actually upset one of his good buddies out there, Tyrese Robert.
Good supporter. And there we go, up the inside. Oh, at last, getting through. But Dom Doyle comes straight back at him.
Yeah, ran it too wide. That's going to slow the pace, and William Friend will be able to react from that. So through NGL Logistics and on the brakes into the right-hand side. This time, William Friend climbs up the inside and hangs Tyrese Robert on one of Tyrese's best corners out to dry. That's really going to hurt him coming into the southern loop.
Now, what Tyrese is going to be hoping for is that William does the same thing to Dominic Doyle.
Yeah.
And causes him a similar type of loss of time. Now into the final turn. We are going to be completing lap number 10.
There will
2
be
to go.
2 to go. Here we go. Lance Moret currently has a, well, it's a doable lead. It should be able to take this through and manage this one. Here's William Friend up the inside.
Oh, touch! Oh,
both of them gone.
The 2 champions.
So William
1
Friend
and 2 in the championship.
Friend went up the inside of Dom Doyle into turn number 1. They both touched. They both wobbled off, and unfortunately Dom Doyle went down. William Friend will be able to react and get back on track, but that changes things completely. Lance Moret now leads out, and it will be Tyrese Robert that's there in second place. I think Dominic Doyle is more disappointed than anything else.
Dominic Doyle not happy about that move that was just shoved up his inside from William Friend. I'm sure we're going to have a chat about that afterwards, but William Friend managed to carry on riding. How has this changed things up now? Let's have a quick squiz at this. Wowee. Tyrese Roberts in second place will be scoring 145 points, but let's have a quick look at that replay.
Yeah, here's the replay. This is going to show the guys going down. Friend up the inside. Dom Doyle leaned in, and there was the touch. Dom Doyle was a little bit off the bike, straight lined it, was still on the brakes when he went to the grass, and he tucked the front end. You saw the front end lock up. So Friend was up the inside. Dom Doyle leaned in. There was a touch. Both riders could have gone down, but unfortunately, Dom Doyle stayed on the brakes, tucked the front end. He walks off. Not a happy camper at all. That's going to change up his championship.
Being helped out by the marshal of the marshalling universe there, Nigel Cosway.
Yep, the marshal.
That is the ultimate marshal. No doubt about that one. But William Friend,
well, the COC was hanging over our shoulders watching that replay.
I don't want to be in his pit after this when Dominic Doyle comes to have a chat.
Yeah, it might be a couple of choice words, but there's Lance Moret. We head on to our final lap. And William Friend going to try and chase down on Robert now. I don't think he's going to be able to catch him, but look at the aggressive nature as he comes through.
Let me just throw another thing at you now.
Go on then.
If they stay as they are, Tyrese Robert,
Second place.
Lance Murray, equal points for third.
For third. Yes, Dominic Doyle has pretty much cemented his way into that second place, so it shouldn't change his championship, even though he is walking off and unable to complete the final race of the event. But look at this. William Friend is going to be able to close up. We're staying with the 99 of Murray, but the change up, and it may be into this corner, just happening behind. Tyrese Robert will have to defend from William.
Tyrese has to stay ahead of William Friend if he wants to get fourth place on equal points with Lance Murray. Lance Murray looking for an opportunity. Here comes Will. He showed a wheel, but didn't quite make it stick. Tyrese is going to have to keep him out if he wants to get on equal points.
Nice wide entry there, and this is where on the brakes Friend will be stronger. There is no fighting back from that position as you head through the end of NGL Logistics, which sets you up for the beginning of the Southern Loop.
Okay, so he hasn't helped his friend out there, has William Friend, unfortunately. Tyrese Robert is going to drop back 4 points, I think it is. So third place, that is going to be where it finishes. Checkered flag is out. A new winner and another winner in Super GP for this year in the Super Juniors. Let's hear it for Lance Murray, ladies and gents, as he comes across the line absolutely stoked.
Yeah, he's taken a win at regionals. This is his first national victory, and right at the last chance of asking, heat number 2, the final heat of the day here at Dezzi Raceway, and the final round of the DO Super GP Champions Trophy. So Murray over Friend. Friend had the comeback. He had to come back from 2 offs in this race and still get himself up into second place. That's why he is the champion. An unfortunate coming together with Dom Doyle, and that'll be under scrutiny from the COC and all the marshals, and that will be a provisional result, which sees William Friend in second place. Tyrese Robert in third. Luca Coccioni will come across the stripe in fourth place. There'll be no finish from Dominic Doyle as he had to walk off the circuit. It looks like Torrin Wainwright may have stepped off with only 9 laps completed as well. So William Friend will be under scrutiny. The 1, 2, and 3 will be provisionally announced as Murray, Friend, and Robert until the COCs make their decision. Although they were hanging over our shoulder here in the studio, and they did watch the replay as it was fed back to us. Well done for our producers and our cameramen for picking that up. And our riders will roll into the pits, and Greg will be down there as umpire referee and see if he can figure out what the story was. He'll no doubt get the reactions from William Friend, but remember, the big story is a new winner on the season for Lance Murray. Friend gets second, and Tyrese Robert once again on the podium in third place.
Down here you can see it's a slightly subdued podium. I think it was due to a little incident that we saw out there, but of course it's now done and dusted. It's all sorted out. Dominic Doyle, even though he went down after the incident between himself and William, is not going to lose the second place in the championship. And Luca Coccioni, even though the massive effort was put in by both Lance and Tyrese, is still going to hang on to third place overall in the championship. But more importantly, right now we need to sort out the podium. So let's get them up onto the podium in third place. A magnificent effort once again, and it's another third place for him for today. And he's just going to grip his gloves off, grab the Pirelli cap, and head up there. Let's hear it for Tyrese Robert. Second place, our champion, and of course a bit of an incident there, but we're not too worried about that one because he's going to make his way onto the top of the podium later on when he gets his championship trophy. But now second place will have to do for race number 2 for Wild William Friend. And what a ride! What a ride from this man to get in the top and make it another victor in the Super Juniors. If we are right, it's about 6 riders in total that have taken the top spot in this championship, and he is the final one for the season. So that's definitely boding well for next year. Let's hear it for Lance Murray on top. All right, so third place trophy going to be handed out by Pradesh from Pirelli. That goes to Tyrese Robert. Second place by Mr. Stephen Watson from Gas Sports to Wild William Friend. And Dave Griffin from Supermoto is going to Rad Moto, Supermoto, Rad everything. It's KTM in the house now with Dave Griffin taking first place. That's one he wanted, eh? Good job, buddy. No celebrations with the champagne, but we're definitely going to get some reactions from these riders. Come on down here, gentlemen. Ty, it's been a tough day, buddy. You pushed hard, and it looked like at one point there was going to be a good possibility of you going tied on points with Lance if you could have just got ahead of him. Unfortunately, you didn't, but the third place and a podium at the last race of the season is definitely a way to end the season.
Yeah, it was a good race. I made a mistake when I was behind Dominic, which gave him away, and then when William came back on, I ran a bit wide, and then that was my race gone.
Yeah, he opened up the door and let you through, but he didn't really play the friend game, did he? He could have stayed behind you and given you a chance to fight it out for Lance in the overall championship.
Yeah.
You're going to come back for more next year? I'm sure you are.
Yeah, I am.
Great job. Well done. And another trophy in the bag there. Well, so one way to sort of wrap up the championship, your arch rival in the championship just coming in behind us here. But I'm sure that wasn't intentional. It never is. However, it did look like you were a little bit aggressive heading into turn one.
No, I was in front and then I braked him and he came on the outside and he gave me no space. I had nowhere to go, so I had to pick up and go straight.
Okay, so that's your point of view. We'll get Dom's a bit later on, but from the look of it, it was very close. A nice recovery, though, just missing the top of the podium for the final race, but you didn't have to worry about that today because the championship was wrapped up.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Today was just for fun.
Now we look forward to hopefully getting you out to Red Bull Rookies Cup in the very near future. You've got an invitation to go and do that in Spain in about 2 weeks' time. So what are the plans if that all happens? Are you going to come back and do both series, or are you going to concentrate on the international stuff?
I'll probably end up riding KTM again next year, but I'll be focusing more on international.
Well done, congratulations, and well done again on the championship. Let's get our champion contender now that he's taken his first victory. It usually works that way, Lance. Once you've got the first one in the bag, it's very difficult to throw them all away and come back for some more. But I know you're going to be coming back for plenty more.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Well, showing that I can get a race victory, I'll definitely come back and win some more.
You're going to be back for next season and fighting hard to possibly spoil the day for William to make it back-to-back and take the national championship for Super Juniors.
Oh well, definitely. I'll try my best to win the championship next year.
We're going to start with our Super Junior champion. Hopefully he's around. Wild William Friend, are you here? There he is. He's going to make his way onto the top step of the podium. We'll give him a chance for get that all on his own sim. He can get through on a pack of 15 riders, but he can't get through on a pack of 30 people. So battles a little bit. Here he comes. This is weird for your champion in the Super Juniors, Wild William Friend. Tim Cook going to give him his championship trophy. Oh, that's an awesome trophy. There you go. Your first official Super Junior champion. Well done, Wild Will. Great effort down there. Put it up high. Dad wants a photo while you got it up high. There you go. Your job is done and dusted, buddy, but you've still got some work to do in the Red Bull Rookies Cup. So that's where you're going to be concentrating on now, starting on Monday night at Rad Motos with a little bit of a fundraiser.
Yeah, well, Red Bull Rookies Cup, I'm just going to use it as an experience because you don't really know what's going to happen with that. And then if I don't get in, which I'm hoping I will, I'll be back here next year trying to fight for the championship again.
Fantastic effort, and of course the inaugural championship is sorted out. It was a national challenge. Next year it steps up to national championship status, which means you've got to come back and do it again.
I'll try, because like this season's had its ups and downs with all the DNFs, but it all worked out in the end. And I'd like to thank Rad, Naked Bikes, my parents, and everyone else who helped me get here.
The Diode SuperGP Champions Trophy is proudly brought to you by Digital Entertainment On Demand and their associate sponsors.